Quick little update. We finally got an axle, the one from the truck with some limited slip. Got all the new brakes on it, got the wheel spacers on. My dad's cleaning up the diff cover area so that we can get the new diff cover on with the gasket that's coming up. I'm about to pull the rear axle, or drop this down so we can pull the rear axle, get the leaf spring shackles flipped, and then we'll slap that new axle underneath. Something I didn't really show the other day is, the kit that if you go to the swim shop, you give them a call Justin. I'm pretty sure he has the number right on their Facebook page, maybe even on their YouTube channel, but the kit includes this front plate, your engine cradle, a YouTube instruction for these plates here, and then there's gussets. So you weld this back plate here to the frame, and then they give you these gussets here, and you weld all of this onto the frame, and this bottom plate is part of the bracket that's welded onto the outside. So it's not going anywhere. Then they supply the shackles, all the hardware. The only thing I had to buy was the leaf springs, which he warned you, maybe he had told me, I think he says in the video that you have to trim the bushings down a little bit to fit into these. And I think that they were talking about in the newer ones, you wouldn't even have to do that. They were gonna start making those. But so yeah, that kit includes all of that stuff. If anybody's looking to do one of these swaps, it's worth looking into. Saves you a lot of time. I also just ordered the 3-inch tailpipe for this that's instead of the little duals here, so that might get that out of the way when we drop the shackle down. The rest of the exhaust there. So we are making progress, moving along. The new diff cover came, gasket, rear end's ready for paint. We got this rear end down and out. We got the front springs out. The rear shackles, the bolts are seized in the bushings like everything always is. So right now we're trying to loosen that up so we can get the leaf spring to push back so we can pull the spring out here. Then we can flip this shackle down and put the leaf spring back into the hanger. Then we can get the rear end all buttoned up. So everything always fights us every step of the way. Time for that induction heater. All right. Rear axle's in. Still needs to be painted. We're gonna do that afterwards. But when it's hanging down, it's pretty far. The axle's definitely pretty far forward in the wheel well, just because of the way that the shackle's hanging. It's all the way forward. When it comes down, has all the weight on it. We'll see how it looks. If we have to weld the other perches on, the truck perches were actually the perfect width, so we didn't have to weld new perches on. I have perches that have 3 holes in them, so I can move the axle back or forward 1 hole if I need to. So we will see once it's on the ground under its own weight where it sits. But making progress. Now we got the old K-member and all that stuff out, so we need to do some cleaning, get that engine off the stand, get the transmission attached to it, and start sliding that underneath. So we are moving forward. Huh? Alan's just recording his face the whole time. All right. So now some redneck ingenuity here. We're about to take the engine off, set it on our engine cradle. We measured from the ground. We put the lift at the lowest lock because our lift is still a little bit wonky, so it fades on its own very fast. So we put it on its lowest lock, measured from the floor up to the bottom of the frame rail where this mounts, and then we borrowed a pallet jack and we built this setup here. So from the floor to where this is, we have 1 extra inch of height basically, so we can put it all the way down, let the van down, and then we can pump this up to its location so we have fine-tuning abilities. And then this is back here is for where the transmission pan's gonna sit. So for sale afterwards if anybody needs it.
It's expensive. Theoretically, it'll work.
Okay, we are at a standstill. The engine and transmission are ready to be pushed up into the van, or the van to be dropped onto them, but I forgot the long bolt to suck the harmonic balancer on, and there's not enough room with the radiator and everything to do that up in the van. So it is almost 10:30 p.m. and we'll start again in the morning. We'll suck that on and then push that up in there. Our plan is to get the engine and transmission up into the van, leaf springs back on, front axle underneath the van, transport van onto the sweet 4-post lift so that we can actually lift it up high enough to get underneath it, because this is as high as we can go with this van. So once it's underneath, then we can build the transmission cross member, we can do the exhaust, we can do all the final everything up on the 4-post lift. So that is our game plan, to be continued.